Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to another live session this week. As per usual, we're doing two of those each and every week, so make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss them out next week, right? We do them every Tuesday and Thursday, but this week we had to swap the one on Tuesday with Monday. However, next week we're back to normal every Tuesday and every Thursday as well. Um, for those of you who have been following the analysis, not just during the live sessions, but also in our free Telegram channel, you guys know that we are expecting to see bullish moves um, kind of unfold in the market against the US dollar. And this is exactly what we had. Okay. So let me just send a quick message first that we're actually live. Um, and to all of our free Telegram members first, and then I'm gonna send a message on Twitter as well. So just need a couple of minutes. We've got over 3,000 people in the free Telegram channel. So hopefully more people join in now. And then we're gonna come back to the chart and check out some of those trading setups that we currently have. Because again, I'm focusing on euro dollar, on pound dollar, and on gold as well. Even though we have some other setups forming up at the same time, and all of that is shared in our premium Telegram channel where I sent the video about 2 hours ago actually. So, but still, I'm definitely gonna give you some valuable information in the next hour. So make sure to stick around. Now, while I'm going to take my time, just a couple of minutes to send out some messages, I can already see we've got some people in the live. So you guys let me know if you are looking at any setups, any specific pairs, even if they're not major instruments that I look at during the live session. Any other pairs, let me know. Do you currently have any trades, or or if not, then what kind of setups you're looking for? You guys all also let me know if you can hear me well, if my audio is good, so we can then proceed. I'm nearly done. So we're gonna check out. We're gonna start off with euro dollar first, and then we're gonna move down towards gold. And by the way, even euro yen and pound yen are kind of giving us some setups as we speak. So we'll come to them in just a couple of minutes. Okay, right. So what do we have here? Now we're gonna start off with euro dollar, and I know that we share an analysis on euro dollar each and every day in the free Telegram channel. Okay, so we do kind of give you an update on this one, but still, I'm going to let me just kind of do that so you can see me a little bit better. Um, but essentially, what I'm going to be looking for here is if we stick to the higher time frames just to see where price action is. You know, we're not trading at previous resistance right here, and we can already see that we have um, some reaction going on, right? So it looks like price is struggling to break above, and it's pretty much trading sideways, and that is totally expected. I'm not surprised at all. So in fact, I'm actually expecting to see a little bit of a pullback here, and then a continuation to the upside. Now, would I trade euro dollar to the downside? Definitely not. I think we have enough confirmation to, to only focus on buying opportunities. So that means I'm going to be looking for price to come down near those previous highs. Okay, so anywhere around 1.26, for example, up to around 1.27. This is where I'm going to be looking for price to eventually bounce off. And if we see a pullback going on, well, this is even better for us because we're gonna get a better entry level, right? And we're gonna have the good and old break and retest setup right here, which is, it works most of the time. So I'm more than happy to be taking a setup like this in the direction of the trend, right? So watch out for price action here on euro dollar. Even if we're looking at the 15-minute time frame, now if break below this minor support right here, we can look uh, for price to dip a little bit lower, right? So the next levels 1.1290, or basically 1 point, yeah, let's just say 1.1290. This will be one level to watch out for a potential pullback. So what I'm trying to say is that we may come down right here and then bounce off, but also 1.1260 is another one of those levels, right? So let's see how it goes. Of course, we need to break below this support first, and then we're going to be talking about this potential move to the downside. But anywhere in between those levels is basically my buy area, all right? So I'm going to be looking for price to come down near this zone. So this is basically 1.1290 down to 1.1260 again. Mark this out on your chart and let's see how it goes. Okay, so it perfectly fits those previous highs. Okay, and at the same time, it's not really much of a deeper pullback. It's just a normal retracement after this whole move. Okay, and when it comes to targets, well, obviously, I'm expecting for price to break above the level of 1.1380, for example, because this is where we've got those previous highs. So what you can do is you can drop down to a lower time frame. This is the 15-minute chart, and let's say you can look for price to potentially give you some sort of a reversal within this area. And as soon as that happens, you will then take a buy entry if you want to, of course. And then moving on to pound dollar. Not much has changed really. I think, yeah, the last session we did was on Monday. So Monday means 19th. And where were we on 19th? So right around here. Okay, so just coming off of this strong bullish impulse. Well then, even if we stick to the 1 hour time frame, you will see the same thing. It's a break and retest pattern, right? So let me grab my pen. So we've got the breakout, we've got the retest, and then we've got a continuation to the upside. Okay, and then if we drop to a 15-minute time frame, we've actually got the setup that I'm always talking about. Okay, the liquidity grab setup. So we've got the break and retest. Okay, we're forming equal lows right here. Price tries to go to the upside, does not break above this previous high. Instead of that, it heads towards the lows again. Okay, gathers all those stop losses that are sitting below this equal structure, and it then shoots up. This is a textbook liquidity grab setup. So anyways, this is what happened then, but what do we expect to happen now? Well, again, we're trading at a strong resistance level right here. So hopefully we see some sort of a retracement, but I'm really not expecting much of a retracement. Um, it's just, the pound is performing much better than the euro. But anyways, I'm going to be looking for an upside continuation and nothing else. There's no point again to look for selling opportunities within this market. And we are pretty bullish on the daily time frame as well. I think we've got enough of confirmation to look for buying opportunities. Now, it would be really nice if price comes down and takes out this low and then give us that reversal. This is going to be another one of those textbook setups that we just looked at. Okay, so if this happens, this is going to be even better, and that is only the 15-minute time frame. All right, but overall a bullish continuation on pound dollar as well. Then I've got gold. Okay, so the thing is, because it's gold, we may not even see any pullback at all. Okay, we may see price continuing to the upside without really giving us many entries, and it has happened many times before. The last time this happened was within this bullish move right here. So as you can see, we managed to make a massive move, but we didn't really have that many pullbacks. I can only see two major pullbacks within the whole move, and that's all. So the same thing could happen um, right now as well, but if we're about to see a pullback, best case scenario would be to see price pulling back into those previous highs. Okay, so that's a bit of a deep pullback for gold, especially since it's already going in an upward direction. But still, if it comes down near 3,260 roughly, okay, if it comes down near that level, then I'm going to be looking for buying opportunities. But if not, then we could easily see price continuing to the upside. With just forming pullbacks on the lower time frames, like for example the 5-minute chart, all right, and then continue to do so. So let's see how it goes. Overall, we're only looking to buy all of the instruments that I went through. Okay, And by the way, like I said, we actually have something going on here on the yen cross pairs. For a long time, I had to kind of leave them alone, because I wouldn't really have nothing going on. But now, what we see here on euro yen, and this is the 1 hour time frame, is that we could not manage to break above this high and basically form a deeper pullback. Instead of that, we had a pretty decent rejection right here, and price is now breaking below, previous structure, okay, as we speak. So essentially, I think we're going to see a bearish continuation, and this is something that I've talked about for a long time, not just for the euro yen and pound yen, but also on dollar yen, exactly the same thing. Okay, and we didn't really have any pullbacks here to allow us to enter into a short trade. Okay, but I've been talking about this bearish continuation before price broke below this low right here. Okay, so anyways, everything is unfolding as expected, and all of the setups are working well. The only thing is that we have to find where we have the higher probability, and also where we have a good risk to reward ratio setups. Okay, because for example on gold, if you're trying to enter a long trade now, you wouldn't have a good risk to reward ratio setup. So that's why I'm always saying it's even better to see some pullbacks, guys. As long as we have a pullback, that means we have an entry opportunity. But possible bearish continuation here on euro yen and pound yen. I personally am not going to be looking to sell euro yen or pound yen right now, but they are on my radar. They are on my watch list, so I know what's going on. So may as well, wait for price to break below this low right here. Then we're possibly going to see some sort of a pullback, and then I'm going to be looking for that continuation to the downside, of course, upon further confirmation. And I'm not going to be using pending orders or anything like this. I need to see what the market does, and I need to see that what the market does is exactly what I'm expecting. Otherwise, I will just focus on the majors because we have much better opportunities here on euro dollar and pound dollar. So for example, I'm a lot more confident in this setup now, where I'm expecting for price to drop down here, test the previous highs, okay, and then potentially reverse. And if that happens, this is a setup that I would take any day of the week. So that's the thing. With experience, you learn how to filter out the good setups and the bad setups, and this is how you stop over trading, because a lot of people have issues with that. Now, if I don't take a trade for a whole week, this is totally fine with me, you know. But sometimes you see very, very clean setups, and you have to wait for those setups to develop. You have to wait for price to come into your trading zone, where you will essentially make your entry if you get a confirmation. You have to do that, and you're still rushing with your entries. So for example, if we're looking at euro dollar and I'm expecting for price to drop down here, a lot of people would now go on the 5 minute time frame and say, okay, well, if price is coming into this area, then why not sell on the way down? And that's what I used to think as well, but it's not exactly like that. Because like I said, this is why I'm repeating all the time. I'm only going to be looking for buying opportunities. I'm not going to sell euro dollar or pound dollar. And that is the reason, because even though we're expecting that price will come down near that zone, the only thing we know is that price is now moving up. So I don't know whether we're going to get that much of a pullback for price to come into this area. What if it goes back to the upside without really testing my area? And then eventually what happens is you are right about your analysis. There is a pullback. It's just you don't have the exact levels, and you cannot have the exact levels every time. Okay, so if you are rushing to enter a sell trade to sell and expect for price to touch this area, you may end up having a losing position, even though your analysis was right that price will eventually go back to the upside, right? So this is what I'm talking about. So you have to be patient, guys. So I can see there is a comment in the comment section, but it's being deleted, so I don't know what it was. So Reshan, did you ask something or you can drop your comment again? I'm now looking at the comment section. And even if we have a pullback here on pound dollar, it's most likely not going to be um, as big as the one on euro dollar. So that's why just the 15-minute time frame and a little dip below this price action right here would give me enough confirmation for a potential entry. Okay, so we're essentially looking for the same setup that we had earlier. Okay, we want to see the same thing right here. And by the way, we also have pretty strong price action on Bitcoin as well. You see, we're currently trading just below the 111k mark, but as soon as we broke above this resistance right here, a lot of buyers entered the market. Okay, so it just shows how strong this move is. And the next level I'm looking for is 113k, and then eventually 120k as well. But it's probably going to take a little bit more time for uh, for this target. However, 113k is a good stop for Bitcoin. Now this is a good rejection. A candlestick pattern like this on the higher time frames means a lot. Maybe not on the 5 minute chart, but this whole setup is pretty decent if you are looking at it on the higher time frame, because obviously you've got the break and retest here as well, okay, and then you've got this rejection, and now we're forming up a bullish engulfing candle. Of course, we'll need to see how this candle closes, but after a setup like this, I would expect that there is a higher probability that price will actually continue higher. So that's a good setup. There's still about 5 minutes left until the 30-minute candle closes. Um, but what we see right now here on pound dollar is we can already see some rejection, right? Let me have a look at what kind of events we've got next week when it comes to high impact events. So I need next week, right? All right, 26th Monday is going to be a day off. So obviously not that much volume in the market. FOMC minutes on Wednesday, but just the FOMC minutes event without like interest rates and stuff like that. It's not as important, but still we need to look out for potential moves. Then on Thursday, um, GDP for the US dollar. Now this is going to be interesting. Um, and then we also have some news for the US dollar on Friday. So next week I'm expecting, to see some movement going on. Even though this week has been pretty decent as well. I mean, throughout this week we saw those, kind of impulses right here. So didn't really have that much news this week, but almost none actually. But we still managed to see some decent moves in the market. So next week maybe um, even stronger for price action. Just got that reaction off of that previous high. Even if we don't come all the way down to around 3,260, but instead of that, we just come and, you know, kind of test this area down here. Why can I not clone my tool? Even if it don't drop all the way down to around 3,260, but instead of that, at least we come right here around 3,290, I would say, roughly. This is still gonna be better entry than entering right here. Of course, we will need some confirmation around this area, but you know, because for me it's very difficult to kind of find an entry. Even if I see that there is enough momentum for price to continue higher, for me it's very difficult to enter pretty much around the highest point of the move. You know, it just makes a lot more sense after you see pullback to then look for continuation trades. Now, I may not be right. Of course, we may continue to the upside and never come back to those levels. But for me personally, I would need to see some sort of a pullback, just like we have on euro dollar, because we're now taking out this support, okay? And as long as we leave a rejection wick or some kind of a signal, well, then that probably means we're going to be looking for price to continue higher. But we are pushing down within this area. So even stronger price action here on euro yen, of course, because euro yen was already bearish. So we shared this setup um, in the premium Telegram channel, not just today, but we've talked about this before. So whoever managed to get a trade upon this rejection right here, well done. Your trade is going very, very well. You know, it's just great whenever you enter a trade and then you see momentum coming into the market immediately, in your direction, of course. So is this going to be the rejection? We'll see, but we'll definitely have to wait for that 15-minute candle to close, which means probably another 13 minutes. Do you guys want me to check out some other pairs? I mean, I do have a few others where we've got potential setups like Euro Aussie and Pound Aussie, for example. Um, Euro Pound is also expecting uh, unfolding just as expected. I mean, we see bearish continuation on Euro Pound, and this is solely because we have stronger GBP than Euro. So, if you don't have good enough opportunities for your own strategy on Euro Dollar and Pound Dollar, for example, you can then have a look at Euro Pound and potentially look to short that pair. Um, Even though it's kind of, approaching major lows. But we have that setup forming up here as well. Okay, so essentially we're looking for short positions. We're taking out, this structure right here, this resistance. There's lots of liquidity sitting above that resistance right here. We have plenty of orders, many stop loss orders as well. All right, for everyone who's going short, where would they place their stop losses? Well, especially retail traders, because they're looking for those small moves, right? They would place their stop loss above the most recent resistance, which is right here. So what does Euro Pound do? Takes out that resistance, and it will now probably continue to the downside. Not going to be looking to take an entry here myself personally, but it's a good setup. Now it looks like we're rejecting this level, but I feel like we may see one last push and then go back to the upside. It's very tricky if you're trying to catch the reversal on the lower time frames, especially because many times you may have to, let's say this candle closes like this, it's going to be a good signal. You enter a long trade, price goes to the upside, but then comes back, takes you out, okay, and it then gives you exactly the same candle right here. So now you take that trade again, okay, let's say price goes in your favor, you move your stops to break even, price comes back to retest the low, okay, takes you out of break even, and it then goes to the upside. So many times something like this will happen when you're trading on the lower time frames. So that's why you have to be prepared to re-enter the same setup again and again. But that means you have to reduce your lot size on each one of those entries because you don't know when exactly price will eventually reverse. Now, when you're trading the higher time frames, it's a little bit easier because in let's say just one single 1 hour candle, if you're looking at the same price action on the 5 minute time frame, you may have to re-enter twice or maybe even 3 times, right? Whereas when you're looking at the 1 hour candle, you just wait for a whole hour, and then if you get that confirmation, then you enter a trade. Okay, so now you have one entry instead of, let's say, for example, 3 entries. Okay, but it takes a lot more patience, obviously, to look at the higher time frames only. And a lot of people would see that rejection right now, and they'll probably think that price is reversing. So this is when they'll drop down to the lower time frame to find a more precise entry. Okay, it's a good strategy, and I'm not saying it doesn't work, but this is what you have to be aware of. You may have to re-enter the same setup a few times. And by the way, for anyone who's asking about the volatility expert advisor and how it works, even though I told you guys there is a completely free full course on how to use the expert advisor, I just dropped another video yesterday, um, explaining more about the expert advisor and also showing you some results for, the past week or something like this. So make sure to go and watch it right here, my last video on YouTube. This one called Trading Results and Next Moves on Euro, Dollar, and Gold. Okay, so make sure to have a look at that video if you still need more information about the volatility expert advisor. And of course, check out the our website. It's on a separate page on our website, trendlineforex.com. So you've got to come over here, volatility trading, and then you can learn more about this expert advisor. You can watch the videos to see some verified results. Buy my FX book for kind of a longer period of time. See how the expert advisor performs. There are more verified results right here, and yeah, and also, like I said, once you sign up on our website, trendlineforex.com, you just have to leave your email. That's all. Then you can come over to services, advanced, and then you can watch this course completely for free, volatility trading system. It's going to explain to you exactly how the expert advisor works. So I've done a full course because I know that there's going to be a lot of interest for this expert advisor and a lot of questions all the time, most likely the same questions over and over again. So that's why we've made a full course, and you don't have to pay a dime for it. So you can actually watch the course and then decide whether you want to get the expert advisor. But you can get it for with an access for the next 12 months, and this is going to give you enough time to test it on a demo account and then attach it to a live account, and then you're going to make up for the investment you've made for the next year, right? So it's really a pretty decent deal, a no-brainer if you ask me. But if you need more information, actually, the last few videos I've posted right here on my channel, as you can see, they are about the expert advisor. And this right here, it's a 47-minute webinar recording about the volatility trading system. All right. So again, if you have interest in automating your analysis and having an expert advisor to automatically enter your positions without you having to lift a finger, well, just go through that content, okay? And then also check out this free course, and I'm sure this is going to give you the answers to all of your questions. And then if you decide, you can give it a try, of course. So because of that dip here on euro dollar, that's why I've got such a strong bearish momentum here on euro yen, and we talked about this potentially going to the downside. But again, the best setups are every time when we take out that liquidity. So if we go back to euro pound, this is exactly what I'm talking about right here. So we've got that resistance, right? Price takes out those previous highs and it then gives you that drop to the downside. So that's the only thing that I didn't like about this setup. But instead of that, you know, liquidity grab above the resistance, instead of that, we actually had, you know, this kind of rejection with to the upside, which was a good enough signal for an entry. So anyone from the premium Telegram channel who managed to get into that trade, well done. So it's going to be very important to see how those 1 hour candles will close. But even this setup right here, even though it looks good, I would really love to see price coming down a little bit lower and then giving us that same signal. That would be ideal. Because technically we don't have a break and retest right now. If you're looking at the previous highs, we haven't really tested neither one of those. So it looks like we're also forming up a higher low here on pound dollar, but then we've got this triangle pattern. Now, the thing with that triangle pattern is that this is a bullish formation. So it basically confirms the analysis because we're going to be expecting for price to break above that pattern, right? However, that may turn out to be quite easy. So because I'm expecting a lot of retail traders are entering long trades on each one of those lows, maybe even right now, I would love to see price forming up a dip and then moving back up towards the previous highs. If something like this happens, well, then this is a setup that I would take. But what I see right now is it's just not enough for me, at least here on pound dollar, you know. And then go to the other one where, you know, I'm looking at the 5-minute chart. Yes, it looks like we are rejecting those previous highs, which is fine, but like I said earlier, I would love to see price coming down a little bit lower. But from what I see, we probably have the 38.2 tested on this most recent move. So we've got a rejection exactly at the 38.2. So yeah, I'm gonna be ending the stream in about, you know, a couple of minutes, but make sure to check out the 1 hour candles. If you don't currently have any entries, I will then give it a bit more time. It's only the first hour of the session, and I'm definitely expecting those setups to develop even further throughout, you know, the US session as well. If you're looking for trades on the lower time frames, we already have some rejections, so you know you can give it a try. But like I said earlier, make sure to use a smaller lot size. You may have to re-enter those setups multiple times before price finally goes in your favor, right? And don't forget about the yen cross pairs as well. I think we have enough confirmation to believe that we're going to see a continuation to the downside. Obviously, entering right now at this current price level doesn't make a lot of sense. So you'll have to wait for some sort of a pullback, but I wouldn't be expecting much of a pullback here. Why? Well, if you look at the even the 1 hour or even the 30-minute candle, we've got a strong downside impulse, right? And then we have pretty much no pullback, and then we have another impulse to the downside. Okay, so we may be looking at the same thing, or maybe just a little bit of a pullback here, and then a continuation to the downside again, right? So let's just check out dollar yen. Same thing here. Price action isn't as strong, but as you can see, we've got this consecutive lower highs and lower lows, which you could see on the lower time frames. So this is a perfect environment for day traders who want to go short, right? And I'm expecting that this will continue at least for a little bit longer. I mean, we are approaching those high lows. If you look at the 4-hour chart, we've got some important levels right here around 142, 142.50, which means you still got about 50 to 70 pips of a downside move, something that you could potentially take advantage of here on the lower time frames. Okay, so watch out for previous highs like this. If price comes back right here and then gives you some rejection, you can then look for a continuation trade. Okay, and do not really look for extended targets, especially not here on dollar yen. Like I said, we're going to be looking for price to come down near 142.50 down to around 142, and this is where I'm expecting that we may see some sort of a reaction, even if there is no pullback, at least for price to kind of, you know, kind of slow down and maybe trade sideways for a bit. Um, but yeah, I think that's all. Of course, best case scenario, we're only trading long positions on euro dollar and on pound dollar, potentially gold. I think this is all for now, guys. Don't forget to check out all the links below this stream. If you're not watching this live, then obviously check out the links below the video. Trendlineforex.com is our website. We've got a ton of free resources. We've got a completely free course for beginners. Like I said, the course for the volatility expert advisor. We also have a full course on how to get funded with strategy included, and that's also completely for free. All you gotta do is just sign up on our website, and don't forget to join the free Telegram channel as well. Right, this is where you can get daily updates on euro dollar, and also every time we do a giveaway or a promotion, a discount, anything like this, it always goes in the free Telegram first, so you're gonna be the first to find out. All right, I'll see you guys in the next live session, which is going to be on Tuesday. Let me just double check the date, and that is 27th of May. All right, until then, take care and trade smart.